Okay, changed my shirt and my necklace because I hated it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is so cool that you're here, all 2,000 of you. Like, hey, what? I started out this year with like 259. I only remember that number because I wrote a blog post about it. Wow, blog posts, Claire, they don't mix. We had a goal of 1,000 for this year, and I didn't think I was gonna reach that. I just kind of threw it out there as like a for funsies kind of thing. And now we're at 2,000, and that's just really cool because I never thought that would happen, at least this quickly. So I'm very thankful and very grateful. It makes me very happy. I just sit and talk about books, and I made this channel because I was crazy lonely, and I wanted to share my love of books with a community, and now we have a little community, and that's so fun. I feel like I sound so sarcastic when I say things are so fun. People tell me I sound sarcastic, but I'm being so genuine right now. Oh, I got a new piercing. Guys, look, I got my rook today. It hurts so bad. You know, a little glimpse. Yeah, okay. Anyways, I am going back on buzzfeed.com, which is something that I never planned on doing. I was like a big BuzzFeed.
Oh, I just hurt my piercing. God.
I was a big BuzzFeed consumer in like 2015. I watched their shorts. I watched BuzzFeed Unsolved up until like a year ago. Like I was a big fan. I'm still a fan of like Quinta and them, but they're not really part of BuzzFeed anymore. Most of their prominent figures like aren't with them anymore, I don't think. But anyways, I used to do their quizzes all the time. It was bookmarked on my mom's computer, like I was in there, okay? Recently, I've seen a lot of people referring to their book lists, which I didn't know they did. They have like a book section where they talk about new releases and stuff, and they make quizzes and lists and recommendations. They have ones where it's like, these books are red flags if people like them, or like, if you're a real book lover, then you should have read these books and stuff. And I took that one and I was like, I guess I don't love books. This list says 23 books everyone should read at least once in their lives. And I thought this would be a fun little funky list to agree or disagree with. So let's get right into it. This is taken from a Reddit thread, and they said it's one of the most genuine threads they've seen on Reddit. Oxymoronic, but okay. First one recommended is The Phantom Toll Booth by Norton Juster. I have read it, and I don't think I really retained much from it. I read it in middle school, so I know I have, but like I don't really remember much about it. So I mean, if there was something to retain, I did not. Didn't necessarily dislike the book. There's no explanation about it either. It just says one of my favorite literary moments. So that's just okay. I was hoping that there would be like logic behind this, and there's just not here. So okay. Number 2 is The Giver by Lois Lowry. I agree with this one. So the quote says, it was the first time the idea of good things having negative consequence was presented to me. I think what makes it work is that we are learning how this whole society works alongside a character who has lived it his whole life, as the facade of a utopian society begins to fall away to show devastating consequences of the perfect life in society. The reader not only feels the shock, but the main character's shock. This book, written for 9 to 13-year-olds, made for great discussions. And I agree. Middle School was a movie. This book caused a lot of argument over if a utopia was possible or not. And I just would probably still love to have that conversation to this day. Next one is Night by, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Ellie Wiesel, because it's German. But it is called Night, and if I remember correctly, it's an autobiographical account of his life in a Nazi death camp. And I haven't read it, but I think I should. You know, I agree with this being on this list. I think that point of view is definitely an important one to hear about throughout history, and the fact that there's someone who is able to give an autobiographical account from being in that situation, absolutely you should read their perspective in their life and their survival. So 1,000% I agree with this one. Next one is Catch-22. That's by Joseph Heller, right? Say you should read it because it changed my views on politics, war, morality, corporations, determinism, authority, and blind nationalism. Sure, there's the phrase of something being a catch-22. There's no like viable option to escape it. And usually when something becomes a pop culture reference, you should know a little bit about it if you want to speak on it. And so yeah, I'll read that. I agree with this. For sure. Next one is All Quiet on the Western Front. That is by, I don't know, Erich Maria Remarque. Describes the German soldiers' extreme physical and mental stress during the war. I really don't like reading about war I just hate it, like even in a textbook. So I mean, can I just like read a textbook, or can I like get a lecture about it in a class? Like, do I have to read this book? Is that insensitive of me? It says, knocks any silly ideas you may have about war being glamorous out your head. I don't think war is glamorous. Like I'm already with you here. We see each other, I get it. Next one is The Grapes of Wrath and or Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Alrighty, I read Of Mice and Men freshman year of high school, and it was like the first book that we read as a class in my honors English class. I don't know if I'm a better person because I read it, but it was definitely interesting and sad. Just like a perspective that I never really would read about, because why would I just be like, what was life like in the Dust Bowl? And I think that every character either is symbolic or has an interesting story to tell. So I guess I would agree with that. Sure. The next one is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Ooh, yes, I agree with this one a lot. I love this book a lot. And I love the movie a lot too. Edmond Dantes is such an interesting character, and why do they say we should read it? Moral of the story was, the happiness one is capable of can only be measured by the sadness one endures. Oh, that's so interesting. So they're saying it like it's like a life map, like you can only measure a mountain by the valley. I like that a lot. Such a fascinating revenge story. It's the most interesting revenge story I've ever read. This man really ruins everyone's life who ruined his life. And he does it so well and takes so long doing it. It's like very calculated. It's crazy. Okay, the next one is The Brothers Karamazov. Last time I said that I never wanted to read Dostoevsky, y'all really got on my head in the comments, and I was like, ooh, it's really not that serious. Passionate philosophical novel that enters deep questions about God, free will, and morality. Shoot, okay, that's heavy. All right, well, the next one is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Now, I've always wanted to try to conquer this book because it's crazy large and there's so many characters in it, and it's always kind of been like a dream of mine to conquer it, but I'm just scared. Comment here says, I love that book. There are no villains, just people with good and bad in them, like all of us. Fun. I want to accomplish books that feel like dictionaries. The next one is The Westing Game. Oh, wait, I've definitely read this. No, I've read this. Did we read it? Someone read it to me. Someone read it to me in elementary school. A mystery book, and whoever wins gets the fortune, right? Yeah. It was like the first mystery book that we read, and I very much enjoyed it. So if you are interested in mysteries, definitely read The Westing Game. As I said, I read this when I was in like 5th grade, so it's not too difficult. Good on you, BuzzFeed. The next one is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, I see this all the time, and I don't know anything about it. Comedy science fiction franchise. What are these pens? Why are we born? Why do we die? For all the answers, stick your thumb to the stars. Okay, so I mean, like, it's not for me. Like, I'm okay, but if you like science fiction, sure. The next one is The Princess Bride. Okay, so let me be stupid for a little bit here. I actually didn't know that this was a book until maybe a year and a half ago. I thought it was just a movie, and I liked the movie. Really like reading the adaptation. No, I lied. I really like what the adaptation is based off of. The book came first, chicken egg kind of thing. Next one is Man's Search for Meaning, chronicling his experiences as a prisoner in Nazi concentration camps. Okay, yeah, absolutely. This is another one where it's a point of view that you should definitely read. So this is more of not like a, oh, read for pleasure, but read for education and enrichment kind of thing. So sure, yes. Stranger by Albert Camus, I believe it is. My best friend read this book for one of our outside reading essays in AP Lit senior year. And so my teacher had like this rubric basically that she would have us fill out before we gave her essays, where I was just kind of like reading the room of how we feel on our essays. So it was like, I feel great, or I know there's some things that I need to correct, or I have no idea what I just wrote. And when my friend turned in her paper, she circled, I have no idea what I just wrote, because the book was so like obscure and difficult for her to kind of put into an essay. She ended up getting an A on her revisions, by the way. Not gonna dog her out or anything. I just remember that she said that it felt like very spacious and vacuous, and that there was meaning, but it was hard to dissect it, and so that might be another challenge book. Okay, next one is Johnny Got His Gun. It's intense, but so good. Guy gets his arm blown off, goes blind and deaf, is left to live, and I like that. I read it only once, but it's forever ingrained into my memory. It hits you like a freight train. I'm okay. Nothing about what I just read sounds enticing to me. I'm so sorry. Next one is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Super agree. Modern Prometheus. Absolutely. Flowers for Algernon. I love this book. This is the first ever book that made me cry, besides Where the Red Fern Grows. But Flowers for Algernon is such a fascinating book, and perhaps it's controversial because it surrounds a man who has a disability, and the scientists basically make him normal, and he realizes that intelligence has made him super lonely and that he enjoyed life as it was. And he's got this Algernon rat who's his friend. And oh my god, the book's gonna make me cry when I'm thinking about it right now. I have to reread it. Like, it's one of the most powerful books that I've ever read, and I was super young when I read it. I was like in 8th grade. 8th grade was a good reading year for me, now that I'm thinking about it. Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Okay. Focuses on the mental anguish and moral dilemmas. An impoverished ex-student in St. Petersburg who, doesn't he rob somebody? Plans to kill an unscrupulous pawnbroker for her money. Before the killing, Raskolnikov believes that with the money he could liberate himself. Once it is done, he finds himself racked with confusion, paranoia, and disgust for his actions. Okay, I'll fall back. This actually sounds kind of interesting, so perhaps you might sell me on it. Is it another dictionary book to add to my conquer list? Perhaps. This list is hecka long, bruh. The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Have to agree. OG YA novel. Absolutely. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Absolutely. You want to talk about utopias, dystopias, genetics, eugenics? Absolutely. Human nature, nature versus nurture? Wow. Yes, it was written in 1932. Yes, it's extremely controversial. Yes, I love it. Want to see my annotated copy? Bro, I went in. What score did I get? 150. She wrote excellent. Yeah, heard you. The Shakespearean references, and then, oh, it was so good. I said the weight of role of savage overwhelmed him and he couldn't take it anymore. Sure couldn't. Satirizing the concepts of now that are controversial from the viewpoint of a society that's found quote-unquote better options. Theme of religion, objectification. I ate this up. Come on, don't play with me. So annoying. I literally thought I was so smart. I was like, conditioning, Pavlov. The fact that people were friends with me in high school is so crazy. Next one is The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Yeah, Demon Haunted World, Science is a Candle in the Dark. The author aims to explain the scientific method to lay people and to encourage people to learn critical and skeptical thinking. Okay. Finally, not a particular novel, but an author, Kurt Vonnegut. Sure. You know, sure, I've read Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut, and I think about it a lot, the so it goes aspect of it all, and kind of like, is that nihilism sort of thing? It's a war novel also. Is it satire? That's controversial. Oh, Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot. So that's the end of the list. So I guess I overall agreed with it. There were some where I just like, am like, no, I'm okay. There were none that I say, absolutely not, you shouldn't read. Well, I don't know if there's many books that I would even say that to, because it's all subjective, right? BuzzFeed, you too shall pass this time. You skate on thin ice often. I'm actually really curious if you guys have read these books, or if there's any books that you think that someone should read in their lifetime. Absolutely, yeah. I definitely want to hear that. If there's any book that you think is like a magnum opus that someone should put in their life, like that should be a very interesting conversation. Let's see. One that I think that everybody should read is The Alchemist by Paulo Kaleo, I believe you pronounce it. I think that book, especially when I read it senior year of high school when I was about to graduate, it's just about, you know, having a goal and realizing that the journey is just as important as the destination, and that enrichment in your life really comes from your experiences. And I think that's just super amazing. I'm done. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night, asleep, I don't know. But I'm done. So I'll see you in the next one. Again, thank you for 2,000 subscribers. That is super fun. And we're done. All right, so bye guys.